Rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL draft are complete. They are in the books. So I have 8 questions here that I'm going to be using to basically react to everything that happened on Friday night from a dynasty and fantasy football perspective. So let's just get right into it with the very first question. What was the biggest surprise of day 2? What happened to Troy Franklin? Where is Troy Franklin? Like, what the heck, dude? What happened to Troy Franklin in the draft process that made him fall to day 3? That teams just decided they did not want this very productive, very good, talented wide receiver in the second round. All these other Luke McCaffrey? Why? Just nah. I'm already done. Question number 2, which rookie drafted on day 2 saw the biggest increase in dynasty value? And there are so many options to choose from here, especially at the wide receiver position, but I actually have to go with Ben Sinnott on this one out of Kansas State. The pre-draft rumors were on point that Ben Sinnott could find his way into day 2 and potentially even round 2 on day 2, which did come to fruition with a pretty juicy landing spot in the Washington Commanders. Last year, through the first 11 weeks in the season, Logan Thomas was averaging 6 targets per game, 40 yards per game, and was scoring a touchdown basically every couple of weeks, to where he was actually a pretty decent start every single week in fantasy. Now, I know different offense, different coaches, different quarterback even, but I think it shows that there's at least an opportunity here for a player like Ben Sinnott, who was one of the most athletic tight ends in the class and one of the most productive tight ends as well, with over 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns over his final 2 seasons. There's a role here for Ben Sinnott in a brand new offense with a brand new quarterback, and he has risen to the tight end 2 in the class and a late second round pick in my Superflex rookie rankings. The third question of the day, which rookie drafted on day 2 saw the biggest decrease in dynasty value? And the answer for this one is honestly Blake Corum, who somewhat to my surprise did actually get drafted on day 2. I honestly thought there was a decent chance that he fell to the 4th round, but he does end up getting taken by the LA Rams as essentially a backup running back with no real shot at the starter role. Like, yes, you could technically argue that Trey Benson is a backup behind James Conner, but we at least know that there's a path there based on Conner's age, his contract situation, injury history. All of that could impact Benson's role even in 2024. But for Corum, he's behind a 23-year-old running back who just came off of a breakout sophomore season in the league and still has 2 more years on his rookie deal. I think this pick honestly says more about the Rams running back room behind Kyren Williams than it does about Kyren Williams himself. So Corum lost a lot of value as a hopeful mid-second round rookie pick to now just a solid 3rd round rookie pick as a good handcuff in case Kyren gets hurt again. Our next question here, which veteran player had the biggest increase or decrease in dynasty value on day 2 of the draft? And this one might sound a little more out there, but I'm going to go with Rachaad White because the Bucs had 3 different opportunities in round 2 to add a more complimentary back to Rachaad White, but instead they turned to defense, they drafted a wide receiver, and now they only have 3 picks left in the entire draft on day 3. They have a late 4th rounder and then a 6th and a 7th round pick. If White somehow survives the 4th round without major running back competition, which really is just Braylon Allen that's left that makes sense at this point, then he's in line for another major volume season in 2024 that made him so valuable for fantasy in 2023. So Rachaad White so far has been a sneaky draft winner from 2024. Our 5th question here, with Jonathan Brooks being selected as a top 50 pick by the Carolina Panthers, where am I taking him in rookie drafts? And right now, I currently have him slotted in as the 110 in my Superflex rankings, which would make him the 1.06 in 1 quarterback leagues behind the top 3 receivers, Brock Bowers and Brian Thomas Jr. While I was really hoping that Brooks would land in Dallas as the most ideal landing spot for him, Carolina is still actually a very solid team from a fantasy football perspective. He can immediately be the RB1 on the team ahead of Chuba Hubbard, and I would argue that he is actually probably the most talented player on that entire offense. It's either him or Deontay Johnson, so the ball should find his way into Brooks' hands a ton this season, especially as he gets healthier and healthier from that ACL injury, and especially as we head into 2025. And don't discount the RB1 role in a Dave Canales offense. Remember, he was the offensive coordinator for Seattle with a rookie Kenneth Walker, who from week 6 on was on pace for over 1,600 total yards and 12 total touchdowns. Or look at Rachaad White last year in Tampa Bay, perhaps a better comparison for Brooks as an overall player and skill set. White himself totaled over 1,500 yards and 9 touchdowns last year, including 64 receptions as a bell cow running back for fantasy, finishing as the RB4 overall. That is the upside that Jonathan Brooks has in this offense and why I am ranking him as a top 10 rookie in Superflex leagues, top 6 rookie in one quarterback leagues. Continuing with the running back conversation, who is the rookie RB2 in Dynasty after day 2? And this one, another easy one because nothing has changed from pre-draft to post-draft. It is still Trey Benson for me. And listen, do not be discouraged by the Arizona landing spot and what his 2024 numbers could be playing behind James Conner this year. This is actually a massive win for Trey Benson's dynasty value because he has a very clear path to a workhorse role in the NFL, and it will take at most just one season to get there, with the possibility that it does happen sooner in 2024. We have seen this story play out countless times. This is Jonathan Taylor getting drafted behind Marlon Mack. It's ETN behind James Robinson. It's Javonte Williams behind Melvin Gordon, Derrick Henry behind DeMarco Murray, and it is always the same ending. The young guy always gets the workload in the end, either by contract situation or injury or just by sheer force of talent. The young guy wins eventually, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. We have seen James Conner have a massive workload for 3 years in a row in Arizona to the tune of 15 to 18 touches per game, scoring a minimum of 8 touchdowns every year, and that's even while missing a couple games every single season. This is the opportunity that we wanted for Trey Benson, a chance to be the workhorse that he never really got to be in college, and I mean, what a team to be on for the future too. Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, now Trey Benson. He is my RB2 in this class and a first round pick in all formats. Our next question here, which player am I most looking forward to being drafted on day 3? And besides Troy Franklin, I guess, yeah. I am most excited for where Ray Davis ends up as he has been my overall draft crush all draft season long. He is an amazing player with fantastic production at 3 different schools and has the prototypical size and skill set to be a 3-down back in the NFL. If he were to somehow land in Dallas, who still needs a running back, I don't think I would be able to actually contain my excitement for how excited I would be for Ray Davis in the Cowboys offense. The same still goes for Braylon Allen, Jalen Wright, and Audric Estime. I love all of those guys too. And if one of them ends up in Dallas, I will still not be able to contain my excitement, but I am most excited for Ray Davis at the running back position. And the final question here, which wide receiver landing spot has got you most intrigued, resulting in a rise up your draft board? So here's where the pre-draft analysis versus landing spot conversation really ramps up, because the absolute worst thing that we do every single year is prop up bad prospects strictly because of the most ideal landing spots. And that is exactly what we're going to do with Ladd McConkey and Keon Coleman. For reference, I had both of them outside of my top 10 wide receivers before the NFL draft. And right now, Coleman is my wide receiver 7 post-draft and McConkey right behind him at wide receiver 8. So we got to talk about this because I already know that you guys are waiting to hear my opinion on this and see if I'm willing to eat some crow on McConkey or even Keon Coleman. Speaking of Coleman first, the reason why I have him above McConkey is just I believe that his NFL ceiling is way higher than McConkey. He's in a better offense that's actually going to throw the ball like 600 plus times. He has a better quarterback, and just profile wise, you can't pass up the upside that comes with a player who's 6'3", 213 pounds, and clocks in at almost 20 miles per hour when running routes. Is he a good route runner? Absolutely not. Does he have a good analytical profile? Not really. Are there red flags in his game? 100%. But if there was a team and a situation that could force Coleman to develop or bust, it is Buffalo with Josh Allen as the de facto wide receiver 1 on the team. And if Keon Coleman were to improve and hit his ultimate ceiling, then you could be like a Kenny Golladay type of player with the Detroit Lions that I would probably still want to sell after any major production, but he could get to that level in the NFL in this Buffalo Bills situation. Now, as for Ladd McConkey, anyone who's watched this channel over the past couple of months knows how anti-McConkey I am, and I am still fairly out on him in rookie drafts, especially if his ADP is in the first round in any format. I am not touching him in the first round. But I will say that he has no excuse to not produce in LA with Justin Herbert in this type of situation. He is most likely the best receiver on that team today, and if he really is as good as all the tape grinders say that he is, despite not producing in college to signify that he's actually that good, then he should produce from day one. And I'm not expecting some immediate Keenan Allen level production here. Those are kind of crazy expectations for just any rookie wide receiver. I just need to see like 800 yards and a few touchdowns in year 1, and then I can get behind him as a dynasty wide receiver 2, and I will eat some serious crow if that happens on Ladd McConkey. But make no mistake, everything in McConkey's analytical profile is stacked against him. He has no breakout age. He has no season over 2 yards per team pass attempt. He has 3 red flag markers on his profile from my metrics, and any single one of those things are death sentences to a player, and McConkey has them in spades. Now, maybe he's an outlier. Maybe Georgia really did hold him back. Maybe Brock Bowers is really just that good that nobody else on the team is going to be able to get enough targets. Maybe. Let me just say he gained a decent chunk of value in my rankings, but I am still pretty much out on Ladd McConkey, especially, like I said, in the first round of rookie drafts. I will not touch him in the first round.